watch us, as a lot of people in Bethel Park are, Comcast 7. We appreciate all the good feedback we're getting in the community. Thanks again to Bethel Park for letting me venture out and to do this show. We've been doing it since October 11th, 2011. So we appreciate it. And we're just glad to be able to be producing this show and meeting lots of people and spreading the good word about Bethel Park. Now, you can also watch us in Bethel Park on Verizon 32, as you know. And for any of our new fans, you can see us from Nemacolin all the way up to Cranberry, Wexford, everywhere in between, even in the city of Pittsburgh. So check us out every Tuesday through Saturday night, 7 o'clock till 8. We replay our shows just like we had a great Monday night show. I'm so happy that we had Taylor Alderdice, their #1 state Quad A basketball team, on our show. It was just announced yesterday, and luckily I booked them ahead of time. And the video is up, Smoking Jim. Usually I can do it, but I was tied up with some things, so Deborah Clark put it out first and posted that it's up, the video. But I usually doctor it up and put what time people are on. So you have to wait till tonight after the Penguin game. I'll do that. And thanks again for watching us. We start with, hold on a second, I forgot, Chip's not here. The snow and all the drivers from New Stanton when he leaves work, causing him to run a little late, so he's not going to be on our show. No trivia time tonight. So he'll save up an extra dose of trivia time for next week. I got my co-host, Smoking Jim Frazier, and we're going to have a talking marathon. And, hey, you wore a nice shirt. It's pretty close in color.
That's it.
I almost wore my red one. And we're going to start with What's on Your Mind with Smoking Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green, you got this.
Here's a little gray green.
Thanks, old gray. My old high school quarterback option days.
That's the first time I got one like that. Thank you, brother.
And what's on my mind is Pittsburgh Sportsline High School Player of the Week for boys and girls. And the boys' Player of the Week goes to Sharon Shafino, who is Angel Shafino's nephew.
This sounds so familiar.
And Jalen,
I remember him.
And Jalen Shafino's cousin. And he had 24 points in Penn Hill's 74-64 victory over McKeesport. And the Pittsburgh Sportsline female sports person of the week, honorable mention has to go to Perry's Amani Montgomery. She's a senior, had 22 points in the 60-26 victory over Carrick. And the player of the week, and you're going to hear more and more about this young lady over the next 4 years, and she's white. And she plays for Amani Christian Academy.
Where are they?
They're up in East Hills. But they're
Pardon me, but I've never heard of them.
Yeah, they're part of the WPIAL now. And her name is Kelly Koenig, and she had 48 points. She's only in 9th grade, and here's the awesome part. She's averaging 44 points a game so far this season. Pistol Pete Maravich type numbers. And the Pittsburgh Sportsline team of the week goes to, honorable mention has to be Alderdice Dragons with their 73.
Did you say honorable mention?
Honorable mention goes to Alderdice with their 73-50 victory over Brashear. Got a honorable mention, got to go to Bethel Park, 82-58 victory over Cannon Mac.
You said you would mention something about our hometown of Bethel Park.
Whenever they deserve it.
This is on BPTV, you know, in Bethel Park.
Whenever they deserve it, I give them a shout out, and they deserved it. And the team of the week has to go to Newcastle, 75-53 victory at Beaver Falls. And I believe Newcastle is an undefeated AAA team. And later in the season, they're going to play the Alderdice Dragons.
You know what? I'm not even worried about Alderdice. They got a great team, great players, and now they got good karma from Pittsburgh Sportsline.
Yes, sir. And that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. Very factual. I can't wait for fiction and fact. What's on my mind is the weather. That's only a little bit on it, Smoking Jim. It's cold out, and there was snow, and I had a shovel. But other than that, I didn't listen to any sports today because on Facebook you can see everything and it's all the truth. And I was looking back and forth. Big Ben was saying he has a torn ligament, sprained OC joint, and he hasn't thrown a ball. Well, everybody knows when they signed the contract that Tuesdays they don't even practice. Right, Smoking Jim?
That's right.
So they asked him, and this is what I'm getting second and third hand. He hasn't even thrown yet, so he doesn't know. Now, I know every athlete in the world is trying to throw the ball if they're injured or moving their arm or leg or whatever else it is. So when he's saying that, he may not even be able to throw right now. Does that rule him out of the game? No way. Big Ben's one of the toughest guys. And as you know, I said we're going to be lucky. So I'll take a little credit, Smoking Jim. I kept saying we will win even after we were screwing up and losing finally. And somehow they won. And everybody knows why, so I don't have to explain any of that. And somehow we're going to win this week because I said we're going to the Super Bowl. And that's what's on my mind, Smoking Jim. A win without the chin in January. All right, now we got our other segments. This is, we're rolling quick because it's only me and Smoking Jim. Now, I don't know if you're ready for fiction and fact.
Always ready.
Okay. Could we have some fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talk machine. I think I'm going back to 2014.
Wait, let me figure, though. That's less than 2 years.
2 years. And my good friend, Coach Buddy Valansky, he brought this up last night, kind of reminded me, so I might as well relive it. And back in that particular time, the number one team in the state was UPrep. And Amani, they're the same school.
Okay.
And they're being led by Darrell Porter's son, who was averaging 27 points a game. And for the City League Championship, unprecedented. It wasn't at a neutral facilities for some reason. They played it at Obama. So Obama's playing a home game.
Wow.
With the number one team in the state. And they're playing a team that's had a 500 record. That had all sophomores. So I'm doing the TV, the play-by-play. And before the game, I announced, and everybody laughed at me. I said, it's going to be an upset today. I said, these sophomores is going to beat the seniors. They're going to knock off the number one team in the state. And by the time they're seniors, they'll be number one in the state. And that day, that was the Alderdice Dragon with the Hawk D defense. They upset in overtime Obama.
Wow.
It was a crushing upset. Shot heard around the southwestern Pennsylvania. And last year, they made it to the quarterfinals of the state. And this year, they're ranked number one in the state and got a very good chance of winning the state championship. So I forget the name he called me, Officer Damas or something yesterday.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
I don't know, because you guys are best friends, and I've only been asking for over a year, could we get him on? No, that was great, because that was mostly facts, Smoking Jim. And special thanks to Merrill, one of our guests, who we met through Billy Nardozzi and Bonnie. They come to our show all the time. She was private messaging me, do you know Buddy Valansky?
Wow.
And I don't. And then I found out when I mentioned his name, you said, Buddy who? And here you know him. Then for him to tell a couple stories was great, about my dad too.
That was great.
When
I enjoyed that.
He graduated back in '78, so my dad was still refereeing. So it was nice, a lot of great turnout there.
When's your dad stop refereeing?
I think it was 81 or 82.
Really?
82, yeah.
It's been that long.
Yeah.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, he started in like 1959.
Okay.
Yeah, well, he was born in 31.
I didn't know that.
He might be as older. Your dad might be older. Do you know when your dad's born?
He was born, I believe, in 1937.
Ah, he's a young puppy then. I got that. Yeah, thanks for asking. That's some of my fiction and fact.
August 2nd.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I do the on-location thing, and I know they can't pull up on this, and you need a telescope to see it. But we're doing the Pittsburgh Sportsline show. That was our first comeback show of 2016. I got the final tally on people smoking, Jim. You won't believe this number. You want to guess how many people we had? Because you're a pretty good guesser.
51.
You're close.
Dick Buckus.
You're close. You got to go up a little.
Really?
We had 60 people. I'm not going to tease you while you're eating some of that hoagie from Olive Oil. Can you pass me another slice?
Yes,
just a slice. Just grab one. I trust you because I got some more to tell. They had the Talking Machine Burger revived, and they sold 6 last night. So that's a new record we've had, especially the 2016 record.
Wow.
And I was just talking to one of the partners who owns it. He's actually working on something that you might like to eat. So he's going to come up with something. He goes, "What do you eat?" I said, well, he's on a seafood diet. He sees food and he eats it. Last night I told him I never heard of Smoking Jim eating a medium rare burger. And they said, I go, "What's Smoking Jim's burger?" Sorry to get off sports a little, but we were in a sports environment and he needs to eat to keep his strength up. So he goes, "I got the same thing as you do. If you can eat it, then I can eat it." So he threw down the gauntlet. So I was talking to John Gagetta, even though he's from Penn Hills and was a coach there many years. He said, maybe we could do a little appetizer or something that Smoking Jim might want to promote, because you know he gets a little loud. So I said, maybe we'll do that. So, yeah, so I'll be talking to him tomorrow. And we had some fun last night. We had some great guests from Deborah Clark, who was common-law wife of Jim Brown, the running back. She wrote a book about him, so she was on the air talking about that. She's just one of our favorites. She's against domestic abuse, which she suffered. Knew, OJ's ex-wife, Nicole, who, got killed by somebody we don't know yet. They're still looking, and a couple others from out in Hollywood days. It's just sad. It doesn't matter whether you're a star or average person. She's going to use her money to have a place for battered women to straighten out their lives and live there for a while, not just 30 days. So check out her book. We'll have more details there. She only had one copy last night, but we'll be promoting that. And then we had the Ray Schaefer Boxing Association with Jose. He brought his team, men and women, out there. I think there were like 10 there. They're all boxers shooting for the Golden Gloves coming up in March. So we'll look forward to them. And if you don't know, he was wearing one of these Billy Hope like jackets. And he actually had a talking part in the movie. If you've seen Southpaw, he was on Billy Hope's side, then he went to the other guy. So he's actually getting some great publicity on it, and he's going to be in some other movies. He just told me one. I don't know the name of it yet, but when it does, we'll find out. So we had guests from all walks of life. The Taylor Alderdice team was just phenomenal. The players, just the way they handled themselves, you could tell they've been interviewed before, not just the Talking Machine interview. And it was just an enjoyable treat there to have them. And they're going to come back after they win the state championship. So everybody else beware. They are that good. Coach Buddy believes in them. And their center is like 6'9". This is what's unbelievable with great athletes. He's a great soccer player, all-conference WPIAL player. He's 6'9". I never heard of a soccer player that big.
Me neither.
And he was quick on his feet with his comments, so that's a good thing when you're with us. We appreciate that. Just had a fun night, and family and friends were out there of Dice Sports, so they come out. They help promote us on Twitter, and we appreciate that. And it was just a pleasure, and can't wait to have them back, and we'll follow them a little more closely. Of course, I don't have to. I got Smoking Jim on the inside. I just don't hear anything. I got to read it on the paper or somewhere else. And, we just had a very good time. Again, thanks to Bethel Park for letting us go out in the community and expand our brand and bring a lot of goodwill out in the neighborhoods there. So it was a really good show. We had the CMU head baseball coach, Claudio Rosano, is truly his brother from another mother, and they've known each other a long time. I just was told on the show that they're going to be in a reality show. So, Smoking Jim, I don't know how you do it. You are truly the busiest man in local media. And then we had a young man, David Lipton, who we couldn't give a lot of time because I book almost every guest that Smoking Jim tells me to. But we had over 20 guests.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I have to apologize to John Chamberlain, who has a website and he has the Pittsburgh blog. You can check it out. It's very good, over 12,000 Twitter followers. He actually gave Smoking Jim and I a book that took a lot of stories from his, page, his blog. So there's all kind of things to check out there. As Smoking Jim reads it, we'll start bringing up, different comments there. There aren't a whole lot of pictures, so I'm not really confident. But he has an open invite anytime he is off again on a Monday night to come out. We just were overwhelmed with guests and trying to give them an interview, so we'll do that. And next week we're going to be off. We don't have a location. I didn't get confirmation from anybody. But the 25th, we'll be back at Atria's. Come on out. They have great food. They may have some drink specials. And they may have a little appetizer with Smoking Jim attached to it. So I'm not sure what they'll come up with. Smoking Jim and I are going to talk about that a little after the show, not on air. We did enough of that. Thanks for staying with us. Now, we got to start our Steelers segment. And I'm going to let Smoking Jim, who rarely gets to lead it off, go with the Steelers.
So proud of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine. I know you can remember the rivalries in the '70s with the Raiders, and I really think that this rivalry with Cincinnati is really good. For a couple of reasons. One, Marvin Lewis, who I don't care for. He's not going to cut Vontaze Burfict or Pac-Man Jones. They'll both be in the starting lineup next year. So this really reminds me of the John Madden Oakland Raiders. They're the bad boys, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are, the good guys. And I think
even though they were knocking people out,
even though they were doing the same thing, you need villains. It was a great game. A lot of controversy in that particular game. And like you always say, it's better to be lucky than good. Pittsburgh Steelers got out of a stadium again, pretty lucky to be moving on.
No doubt about it. Especially, I got to bring up when you picked the Bengals to win. Didn't you pick out on Championship Chase too?
Yes.
Okay, just double checking there. I got the double check. We'll talk about the double check choke that didn't happen too, because you do pick out some wild things. But I think you throw 10 crazy things out there, and then 2 come in, and you don't bet on those. But that's another story. But yeah, with the Steelers, we talked a little bit about it last night because of the thug element there, and I have a different feeling than Smoking Jim on it because he's like an emperor, and these players are just pieces of meat. I don't say it too often, but you used to bring it up early on our show 4 years ago all the time, to the detriment of another gentleman here who didn't like that. But I always enjoyed it. But I don't enjoy that when you're breaking the rules of the game so blatantly, and then you're trying to lie and say watch the game in slow-mo, because you'll see these hits aren't so bad. Well, how about watch it in regular speed, what the referees are watching and what Goodell was watching. And I noticed one thing that's odd. The face of the NFL, Goodell, or Goodell as some people would call him, he hasn't issued any statements.
Good point.
Even out of his office, they haven't, except they said because of his past, Burfict, he's going to be suspended 3 games. Well, to me, he's like Shoeless Joe Jackson in baseball and Kenshaw Landis, who was a terrible judge and corrupt and also a commissioner. You should ban somebody for the betterment of the sport. 2 guys, at least. And if Joey Porter has to go, he understands that. I mean, my thing is, I don't agree with a lot of people in sports because it's all opinions. But when you're breaking the rules, you're breaking the rules. It doesn't matter if you're on our side. and you were a good guy who hates a lot of people, but you were out there instigating. And no, he didn't get a game ball. Luckily, Tomlin told us that, because I really thought he got a game ball.
I still do.
He really didn't get one. They just said, way to go, Joey. That's all he needed.
And here's the ball.
Yeah, no, they didn't. They had to give the game ball to Perfect. That's who got it. You guys don't even pay attention. Don't we give sandwiches to teams that beat another team for us? You didn't know that was coming out, Smoking Jim.
That was good.
He should have got it. And Pac-Man Jones, you don't give him a game ball because that was just stupid on his part. Why are you going to get upset when you've already done your damage and cheating? So these are some of the things that go on. It's hard to watch the NFL totally with these games now because some calls go for you, some go against you, and it's the same broken rule. So do you think we should have rules anymore or just let it rip? Sorry to catch you on mid-bite of Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Frank, we can't stop eating it. Go ahead.
Yeah, the lines are so blurred. I mean, a lot of people think that Burfict's hit was a penalty, but if you do go back and look, Antonio Brown, and you know I love that kid, Antonio Brown ducked his head. And but okay, I'll concede giving Burfict a penalty, although I don't think it should have been a penalty. But how can you not give Ryan Shazier a helmet-to-helmet penalty?
Well, I think you understand it. Running back, when somebody's running with the ball.
It was still helmet-to-helmet. It was still defenseless.
They let that go. He wasn't defenseless. You got to check out the rule, NFL scout. When they're actually a runner, even a quarterback, because I've looked into it because I don't even understand how they change like that. When you turn into a running back, helmet to helmet, anything can happen to you.
Wow. Because there is a rule that running backs can get a penalty for lowering their head when they're going through the line. So the rules, like you said, the interpretation of the rules, you interpret it one way and it's probably correct. Then on the other side, they're giving a penalty to a running back because he's lowering his head coming through a hole. So who knows where it lies. Definitely Joey Porter should have got a penalty for inciting a riot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a doctor. He's not a trainer. What's he doing going out there checking on Antonio
He's the
Brown?
doctor of instigation.
That's it. And he did his job well. And then you got Pac-Man, who will be back again on the team. But Pac-Man is so mad that he reaches around the referee to go throw a punch at Joey Porter. Like, who does that?
A thug.
Yeah.
An undisciplined player of Lewis.
Yeah. So, yeah. And like I said, this is Cincinnati. I knew they wouldn't fire Marvin Lewis, number one. Number two, for his first 7 or 8 years, the Cincinnati Bengals led the league in players getting arrested.
Why do people forget that?
Yeah.
And Perfect, didn't he have a penalty or something in every game that he played, or maybe
Pretty much. He had
35 out of 37 games?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and now he's going to appeal the 3-game suspension.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. So, but as soon as those 3 games are done, he'll be back in the start lineup. Yeah, no.
You think he'll be captain?
He may not get it because he won't be around for the first three games, but he is the uncrowned team leader of that defense. So,
well, here's the strange thing about it. Besides Shazier, he was the best player on the field.
Yes, he was
during the
MVP.
game. And I thought, can he play a clean game? Then I said out loud, no. He just can't help himself.
He can't help it. I mean, those guys, and you got to realize, some of these guys, it's almost like beast mode. Some of these guys would rather, I mean, where they come from, in the streets and the hoods that they come from, a lot of them would rather take a body than make an interception. I mean, they live for that kill shot.
Well, you know what I would do if I were Goodell? They'd be out of the sport for a while.
Yeah.
A couple of them, because first of all, this isn't a video game. That's what these plays are. Even your favorite AB trying to straddle a goalpost. You know, that's insane. They just want to do something more sensational, like when they do somersaults into the end zone. I just hope that they don't get hurt doing that, unless they're on the other team. You know, because we should be able to get away with anything we want. We're the Steelers.
Yeah, it doesn't bother them. Injuries doesn't bother me, but
what bothers me, because I want to see good players play while they're in their prime.
Next man up. I like to see.
Yeah,
the
but
hits.
the Steelers don't have a good next man up.
I like to see the big hits, and anybody can make a big hit. And but they're taking those big hits out of the game. And Coach Tomlin, if he was coaching properly, after the Joey Porter goes on his knee, crawls on his knees and chest bumps or whatever he did with William Gay, he'd have been up in the booth. You know, majority of the coaches are up in the booth calling the plays down. There's no reason for him to be on the sideline. You know, so hopefully next week in Denver, where he's already been shot in the butt, and they don't like him in Denver, and he should be
maybe he
up
can go on his knees when it's 30 below.
Yeah, keep moving that target.
Yeah, keep it low. No, it's just a shame. And since we're on the Steelers and the concussion movie, I've seen it, you've seen it. I was in it, buddy, for 5 seconds. You must have missed it.
I gotta go back and watch it.
Don't spend $30 to do it, taking a sweetie with you. But I think concussion's going to change a lot of things with the NFL.
Well,
you don't believe it?
Yeah, I think you're right. It has been changing a lot of things, and
that was because of the lawsuit. Then they settled, so they thought they were clean.
Wow.
You know they settled that lawsuit.
No,
yeah. You don't know this. Sorry, folks. We try to inform you of stuff. Smoking Jim has his own opinions. He's entitled to them, whether they're his or somebody else's. Just ask him; he'll tell you. But yeah, they did have a lawsuit. They settled out of court.
With the former players?
Yeah.
Okay,
I knew you knew that because we even brought it up.
Yeah, I remember that one.
You're having trouble remembering yesterday.
Yeah, I had a few concussions in my day.
I know that. Well, at least he believes in it. Here's living proof. Graduate of Gateway, Cal U, and the School of Hard Knocks.
Last night when you said 8 degrees of separation,
no, I meant that.
That was good.
Well, I know I've counted all the degrees that you have. I couldn't resist myself. We were there so long last night that I had to come up with new material. So, but I feel the concussion they will start making other decisions on this, and we're not going to like it because it's going to change how sports are played. You've been concussed, and it's tough working with you on some things, but we know what's going to happen 10 years from now. That's the sad part. You need your Obamacare. I don't know what you're doing there. You always talk about it. You better have it ready.
Hey, it's nice not to be able to remember some things. Remember, you think?
Like
you said, if you tell me something, it's like I'm hearing it for the first time, bro.
Yeah, that's true. All right, how old are you? Mario keeps asking me. You don't remember that question. Sorry, folks. There's a controversy on how old he might be. Hey, and I talked about it yesterday, so I hope we didn't lose any viewers watching First and 10 with Smoking Jim and Jody Velasquez.
Jody just texted me, so I don't know. She must have forgot already that we have a show on Tuesday.
I'll call her up right now. Yes, we do have a show. This is like our 220th Tuesday night show since 2011.
Wow, that's huge.
Well, thanks to you.
That's amazing.
You're a helper with this.
Thank you, sir.
Without you, I couldn't do it. Like tonight, I'd have to talk to myself. Because I'm not used to being on the radio like they do.
I still get that. I just got that the other day ago.
Did you?
Still doing radio, yeah, every week.
Smoking Jim and I have a streak. We always say we're on public access TV in Bethel Park. And thank you again, Dave Cable. And people go, what time's your radio show? And they're smarter people than us all the time. But we're still on TV. Look,
Channel 32. How'd I get that on my dial?
We can't get it. No doubt. Do you follow the Penguins at all lately?
Not lately.
No.
They got a new coach, right?
Yeah, they got a new coach. They're playing a little better. We won't get too technical on that type of stuff. No doubt. Hey, when are you announcing basketball games again? That's my thought. When do you do them?
We do the City League Championship game.
And when is that? So I can mark it on my calendar.
I believe it's I want to say the end of February.
Because between you and Buddy talking about it last night, then you brought it up again today, I forgot to ask Buddy the truth when that will be.
You coming? Well,
I might.
Last year it was at the, hopefully, then the TV station comes out and does it most times, but
Yeah.
if it's at Pitt Stadium, not Pitt Stadium, Peterson
Center.
Center, for some reason they can't. They for
Can't
some
broadcast.
reason they don't do it there. I don't know what's wrong technically wise, but Palumbo Center or one of the high school gyms, Alderdice or Obama.
Then you'll be filming.
Then the station, we'll do it anyway. But
That's
it's
out of
always better.
PCTV 21.
Yeah. It's always better when the station comes out and does it. But if not, we still do it every year. Football, City League championships in football and basketball.
Okay. I'll mark that sometime in March.
Yeah.
Right?
I think end of February, I believe.
End of February?
I
All right.
believe.
I was trying to narrow it down, so when I misspeak, I know you'll correct me. That's how I get the truth out.
But that'd be
See
great,
that?
man.
Oops.
That'd be great, man, to have you there, man, for sure, man. You'll be right on the Alderdice bench with Buddy.
I know. I'll be sitting there. You know that? Rocking a Pittsburgh Sportsline
The
shirt.
funny part is funny. I've been going to see a lot of Brashear games. I'll be at Brashear game on Friday.
The question everybody's asking me is why?
Liz Costa.
Shout out to Liz.
I like to support my friends.
Yeah, we know that. You're in selfies with her.
But it's so funny. Alderdice has a head coach that is just fiery, and his wife is every bit as fiery as he is in the stands, right?
Really?
And the funny part is just so funny because City League does things their own way.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in the WPIL, they have the Gatorade water bottles, filled up, people grab it on the bench.
Right.
When the City League, they have a water cooler over in the corner with cups. So the coach is down on one knee drawing out the plays out of timeout, and all the starters are getting cups of water.
No way.
So he's screaming at the JV, "You guys should be getting the water. They should be over here." Like the JVs is paying attention. They're not going in. And by the time the starters gets back over,
That's a great story. I'm going to look for that, but I'm going to make sure I'm not near the water or Gatorade.
Oh, it's so funny.
No, I may help them out.
Yeah, that's good to help them out, man.
Definitely. Could I bring a bottle and fill them up for each of them?
Yeah, there you go.
I'll donate it. We'll see if we can get Pittsburgh
Mario,
Sportsline water bottles.
Yeah, maybe Mario can help. Maybe he can put a little something in there, man, because he got some.
He got the
He got the
juice.
secret potions. That's for sure.
He got the juice. That's true. No doubt about it.
But not to change subjects, but
You can.
If
It's
we
just
can-
me and you tonight. Go
if
ahead.
we can talk briefly about the national championship, which I had Clemson +7, and they covered. But
Good. You're on a good covering weekend. Cincinnati covered for you.
yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
I didn't put any coin on that one, but
man.
what a great national championship game. I think it continues to prove that the best conference is not the SEC; it's the Big 12. People say the Big 12 don't play any defense. But the Baylor and TCU and those people out there, they score so much. And that's why I thought that Clemson would have an opportunity to beat
But they didn't win
Alabama.
outright, just so you know.
Yeah, they lost.
Alabama won their 4th national championship, I think.
Yeah, and they continue to eliminate the Big 12, Oklahoma State, Baylor, TCU. Baylor and TCU, to me, Oregon out in the Pac-12. I think those teams year in and year out can beat an Alabama, can beat most of the teams in the SEC, but they get one loss because they got to play each other, and they're out. But everybody thinks the SEC is so tough that you get a loss in the FCC and you don't drop but maybe 1 or 2 spots and you're still in it. But
You mean like Alabama?
like Alabama did. Clemson is just an above average team if they were in the Big 12. And they play in the weak ACC, but their offense and their offensive philosophy is always going to give Alabama a lot of problems. Even Nick Saban said so. And Alabama won. Kickoff return helped them, and the onside kick was so Saban coached his butt off to get that particular victory. But again, I believe that the best football right now is played in the Big 12.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a profound statement, buddy. You do make these outrageous statements, and some of them do come true. So I can't argue about that. No, it's some interesting stuff you bring to the table. I can't wait to see another 1st and 10 with Smoking Jim. You know that. I'm looking forward to it. But hey, I have a couple more presents for you.
Oh, thank you.
Now, okay. I was at the racetrack for the first Saturday race of the year. They're racing Saturdays, every Saturday at 1 o'clock.
Till when?
Till maybe 5:30.
I mean, how long? For
All
good?
year, yeah, for
Oh,
2016.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so I picked up some stuff for you to educate you more about the horses.
I appreciate it.
We can't pull anybody up here, but you can get these out at the track. The MSOA, Meadows Standardbred Owners Association, provides information so you can find out about horse ownership.
Man, that's great.
And things there. And then I've been talking to different people, even my daughter, Casey, she told me that coloring books are popular. They find it helps your brain.
I never knew that.
Yeah, well, this is why I have to tell you, because not that you're getting worse, but I got to keep you strong. So I told them, Heather Wilder with the PR, the MSOA, I go, can I take one for me? So I took one for me because I'm starting to color. Look at the nice horses. You can color whatever color you want.
All right.
So I got a coloring book for you. I don't have the crayons, but you only have 14 godchildren. I found out.
I got some crayons.
Yeah.
Now.
So if you have crayons, start coloring.
Can
That'll
we color?
help you.
Do we have anything by painting by the numbers? I always thought that was good artwork.
I don't know if that'll help your brain, but I'm going to go. I'll get some research on that. So we're trying to help because he's been concussed. And we're trying to bring him back because the brain can regenerate healthy cells. It's not just dead. And maybe we'll have to have Bethany Montecalvo on the show so she can talk to you a little bit about healthy. Are you drinking green tea at all?
I drank a couple cups today.
Okay.
Green tea, and I didn't drink my potion today.
Why not? Because I'm going to tell you, this is a health tip. If you take baking soda and lemon in your water in the morning, that's called a detox. It gets all the poisons out of your body. But you have to watch. The warning on it is because there's salt and it could affect your blood pressure. So, but you can once in a while put a tablespoon of baking soda with a tablespoon or two of lemon juice with your water, and that'll help get all that poison out of you. All right.
And baking soda alone will get a lot of poison out.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it does help, but it gets your pH balanced. So I don't want to get too technical there. But keep drinking green tea, so then you can still go to all these sporting events. All right, as the winter weather hit us. The other thing I wanted to talk about is you do a lot of sports in the area.
Yes, sir.
You do announcing. People really don't know. I get people in Bethel Park that want to say, they always go, Smoking Jim's such a great guy. What does he do? And they go, you're always talking about he's the busiest man in media. Well, he does boxing announcing too, and I'm proud to be a part of his boxing announcing team. We've had some of our greatest viewerships on boxing that we've done, in pro and amateur.
You and I are the number one team, brother.
Are we? Okay.
Yeah, dream team. Man.
Yeah, because then you threw the one lady that she was a good co-host with you on there. So he brings a lot of people in there and gives them a chance. And he gave me a chance, and I'm like bad breath. I won't go away. So.
You're great from right out of the gate, although there was a guy that didn't think that you would be getting good.
He didn't think I could talk about boxing. He didn't know I've been watching boxing since the 70s. We had a trainer at the Pittsburgh Press named Ed Miller, who some of the boxing coaches know. This is back in the 70s and 60s. And we had boxers at the Pittsburgh Press. One of my friends, Jim Villa, guy 6'3", about 300 pounds, he fought. So, and we've had others that boxed. So that was in the 70s. You know, so I think I've been to Monzo's and a lot of other places.
Where's Monzo's at?
It's gone.
Where was
I don't
it?
know what community it is. I'm trying to think, what other place was it? There was like Holiday something. Then they have a house, Holiday House.
Yeah,
I don't know where that was at. But that community's just falling by the wayside.
You got around if you was here, brother. Some good times, man.
Yeah, no doubt. And I kid him because you always hear him talking about God's country. He thinks it's West Virginia. No, I mean, that's Gateway. But I'm trying to keep him under control there because we feel God's country is wherever we are.
That's true.
But you do announce a lot of things.
Yes, sir.
What sports have you announced? Like we talked basketball, we talked boxing.
Well, I've written on almost every sport.
Okay.
But in terms of announcing boxing, football, basketball, we almost did baseball.
Yeah, we were close. We were close if it didn't rain the one day.
So I think that's just about it.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, how long have you been doing it? I know you don't know your age and you can't tell us, but how many years have you been announcing?
I'd say over 10 years.
And this is, I'm trying to do like a 1st and 10 with Smoke and Jim.
All right.
So I can ask him questions. Because rarely do we get a discussion. Because we're either out and about interviewing people.
That's true.
You know, he's a good sidekick here, so I appreciate it. And how did you get started? I guess you would have announced football first. Would that have been your first or boxing?
I got to give the credit for my start to Eddie Jeffries, which leads to a story.
That's what I was hoping. This is going to be a great story.
This is past the statute of limitations, so IBM can't come at me.
All right.
But
you mean you had a real job?
I had a real job. I used to work for Big Blue.
No way.
IBM. It was my first and last and only job I ever had.
I knew you were hiding your intelligence. You probably helped design that computer to beat humans.
But I did help to bring the first video conferencing for banking here to Pittsburgh.
No way.
And
I knew you were a legend in something besides sports.
So we did that. But matter of fact, I'm working. And back in the day, I guess I was a little arrogant, and I thought I could. With IBM, I was a voice and data guy, so we would go into a building, empty building, and we put in all the wires,
voice and data.
Raised floor environment, and hook up all the servers were kind of new then, T1s and T3s, and hooking all that stuff up. And I took instead of, I was off, but I decided to come in and work overnight, and probably my relief was coming in around noon.
Okay.
And it was basically nothing happening, but we were testing with the different telephone companies. MCI was pretty big in Pittsburgh at that time, and Mama Bell was still around. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, we lost communication to New York, which is, as you know, Wall Street's big time.
Sure.
So everything crashed. But I was supposed to be on Whammo from 11 in the morning to 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
So about 10 o'clock, we lost New York. We got every VP from the bank coming in. We got VP from MCI coming in and phone company. And all of a sudden, I get a phone call. And I've never been on the radio before. I was going to be a guest. Oh. And how Eddie Jeffries found me is my draft report. He used to read it at a
Tell him what you were doing. You were doing this draft report.
Yeah, I would do this draft report and send it to all the general managers in the National Football League. In one barber shop in the whole city of Pittsburgh would get my draft report where I would go get my hair cut. It was called Pro Hairstyle or something. It's a defunct place now. Okay. And Eddie Jeffries happened to get his hair cut there.
No
What's
way.
the chances? And so he called me to be a guest. So about 11:15, I'm getting a call. They're like, "What are you doing?" They're asking for you on the radio. So I had to make a decision. I says, well, if I leave and go to Whammo, I'll lose my job at IBM.
Yeah.
But if I don't go, I'll probably never get an opportunity again. So I left.
You are a true gambler.
So I went there and I couldn't get in. If you know anything about where Whammo is, there's no guard there. The door's locked. I'm in the middle of the street. So finally somebody comes, they take me up. And Eddie Jeffries has a professional wrestler, a little dude.
Yeah.
And he's talking to him for the first hour. And I'm sitting there, I'm going to lose my job. And
all because of a wrestler.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, at the time I was making $50 an hour at IBM,
Wow.
And I really didn't want to lose that. Brother didn't really want to lose that job.
Yeah.
And after the first hour, Eddie Jeffries announced me. We come on, and it just clicked between us. And Whammo hired me brought me back the next week, and then hired me. But I was able to even keep my job at IBM.
You are truly blessed.
Yeah. But a few years later, IBM laid off 50,000 people, and I was one of the 50,000. I said I'd never work for anybody else again.
Wow, you've
And
kept your word.
Kept my word.
And that's some of the facts on Smoking Jim.
But what happened after that, once...
Well, tell them who Eddie Jeffries is.
Eddie Jeffries...
Because a lot of people may not know. I knew of him just because I listened to a lot of different things in sports.
Well, Eddie Jeffries was not only my mentor, but Eddie Jeffries was a longtime radio guy. He was a sports columnist for the New Pittsburgh Courier when they were still a national paper, and he broadcast a lot of games. The Piranhas, the Pittsburgh Piranhas.
Yeah, I remember them.
6'5" and under professional league. But Eddie Jeffries was just a great guy, but he was a long-time radio talk show host for WAMO, Whammo. And
he opened the door for you.
He opened the door. He took a chance and brought me in, and we clicked. And then we started doing, a few years after that, we started doing restaurant shows like you and I do, like you perfected now with Champions Live. And that's when I ran into Bill Neal, and we started doing that. And then Bill Neal brought on Luther Dupree.
Right.
And that's how I met Luther and got hooked up with Channel 21.
You're talking all these legends in the city.
Yeah.
Bill Neal is one of the biggest legends in the city with what he's done over the years.
Yes, he sure has.
Helping with charities, basketball, football, Willie Stargell Foundation.
Nobody puts together a banquet like Bill Neal. He's pretty incredible.
He knows everybody who's in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
And he's also a writer at the New Pittsburgh Courier.
If you call it that.
Well, I understand that.
But he has a very entertaining column. But Luther got us involved on the TV side, and that's when I started doing boxing and football games for TV through Channel 21.
That got you in another door.
Yeah, because we were doing TV with Bill Neal and Champions Live, but I don't think it was going out to many stations.
No, I heard rumors about that. We won't even discuss that. There's not good stats on that. What I was getting at is how you are a busy guy in the media, and some of it, like you go, how could it happen? It was just meant to be.
Yes, sir.
That's how I look about it.
Yes, sir.
Just like with us meeting, we met about 4.5 years ago.
Seems like I've known you all my life.
I know. And I just had somebody else tell me that the other day.
What's her name?
I can't tell you, but it's only 4 years, I said. That's another story, Smoking Jim. This is about you. This is First and 10 on BPTV. I'm stealing the line of his show. I was also on his show a couple years ago. If you ever see it, I'm wearing a nice yellow polo before we invented the Pittsburgh Sportsline. I got some comments from people, men and women, that know me, said, "Oh, you look good on that show with Smoking Jim Frazier." I didn't know you were on that show.
Well, I got to bring you back on, but you're going to be on weekly because I've been feeding them one of these every week. Well, this will be the second
one. So our on-location show? That's great.
Yeah.
Now, you started with Luther then about 12 years ago, with Steel City Sports World. Would that be correct, roughly?
I would say about 10 years ago.
10 years.
Yeah, Luther's been around probably about 15. He had the show 4 or 5 years before I came on.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Now he can't get rid of you.
Yeah.
You're unbelievable on the show. Now, they'll do it live on a computer.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I can actually see and hear it now.
See, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And I always see guests from Pittsburgh Sportsline on there. I'm noticing a coincidence. I want to see some of your guests come here. That's all I'm looking for. Sorry, folks, we got a little in-house discussion here.
You'll see more of that in 2016.
Okay.
More of those guests, more of my guests.
Migrating to my show and our show here, because you know you're part of the show. Look at the gear he's wearing. He got the hat. He looked good in black and red. You know that was Shenley's colors.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, back in the day. Too bad you didn't see those games. Some of the best in the country played basketball. No doubt. Okay, so now you're at Steel City Sports World. Now, how many shows do you do a month?
We do one show a month.
Okay, so it's a monthly show.
One in-studio show a month. Sometimes, if we do a basketball or football game once or twice a year, that's also thrown in the mix. But, we roughly do 12 shows a year.
No, that's good. You also have people that call in. Unlike in Bethel Park, we don't have a call-in. You can call in. I actually have to give my cell phone number out because the phone doesn't work because of the internet connection with it.
Okay.
So we'll work on that.
And that's a nice a wrinkle that the Steel City Sports World and Luther Dupree has, is because people can watch the show like they do here, and then they can call in. And over the years, he got a great following.
Well, I know this much, that a lot of people that I talk to in the city of Pittsburgh watch the show.
I appreciate that.
They know who you are.
I know the Steelers watch it. I know that
Do
for
you?
sure, yeah.
How do you get invited back?
You know what? It's just amazing.
I know it is.
And the first time I realized the Steelers watched the show, matter of fact, the trainer that took us swing at Burfict.
Yeah.
He was one of the first ones. The first one that came up to me was Mr. Dan Rooney. I'm over there about 7 years ago, and Dan Rooney says, "Hey, you missed one.
Right.
You missed one." And I says, "Hey, what do you mean, Mr. Rooney?"
Yeah.
He says, "Yeah, I was watching your show."
Right.
Thinking, what show?
Yeah,
What show got
you
on?
are the busiest man.
He says, "Yeah." He says, "You guys were naming the top top WPIL and city basketball players all the time. You miss Robinson from Allegheny." I'm like, "Oh, no, man. How did we miss that?" You're right, Mr. Rooney. So then I Googled him later on, looked him up. And here this kid as a sophomore played at Allegheny, but then he went to Laurel Highlands and won a state championship there.
Wow.
And was a captain at West Virginia University. So we did miss one, but after that I realized, wow, the Steelers was watching this, once a month because they can get 21 over there, and there's a few times I went in over there and they had it on the station on.
Are you serious?
And they got other stations
Sure.
too, but they got a lot of different TVs in several different rooms. I was like, oh, woof.
Well, that's good.
So
maybe they'll follow you to Pittsburgh Sportsline. I'm glad we had the time to bring a little update on Smoking Jim, because whenever I go out in the area, you come with me. Well, you get to talk about yourself. That makes it go. You're getting an Al Levine, a talking machine.
Give us another 15 minutes.
All right, well, on a little break, Devin said at the end of one period, no score with the Penguins.
Good, I can get home and watch the rest.
You know what? That's what I was thinking. You know how far I am? I'm 3 minutes away, so I'm not going to miss too much. We got 3 minutes and 53 seconds to go right now. I've enjoyed it, Smoking Jim. I only have a couple more questions for you.
Yes, sir.
Somebody's messaging me. You know what? This smartphone's the bane of me. All right. I think Devin from the control room. By the way, Devin is doing one heck of a job. He said, Pens Canes, end of one, no score. I can't give any more time. We only have 1 hour. No, we know that. Smoking Jim knows that too. Because even though he doesn't like the NFL has rules, he knows PCTV 21 has an hour.
Yes, sir.
He knows Pittsburgh Sportsline has an hour, except on Monday nights we go past that sometimes. But he knows. So thanks, Devin. I'm glad you can message me on my phone. We appreciate that. But I lost my train of thought with where we're going there. We'll have to think of something else. I missed that. I was just trying to get a couple more nuggets from Smoking Jim because he holds a couple. Now, we know you played football.
Yes,
Did
sir.
you play any other sports beside track?
I wrestled, and probably the biggest mistake of my life was not playing basketball. Growing up, I wrestled, and we thought basketball players were wimps.
Yeah.
And not too many people went to the wrestling matches, but
You surely weren't a wimp.
yeah. But my senior year, I went to one basketball game. It was towards the end of the season, and my dad was a great basketball player. My brothers were great basketball players, and I went to round ball games, but I never went to a high school home basketball game, and it was packed. And the gym was jumping, and I almost went in the locker room at halftime and asked the coach, "Could I play?" I was so close.
Do that.
I was so close. I had tears in my eyes. I wanted to play so bad.
Wow.
So that's the biggest regret in my life is not playing basketball.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you ever play pickup games?
Well, I was a good basketball player.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I was a good basketball player, good
you
athlete.
shoot?
That's all I did. That's all it was
That's
for.
probably
man.
why nobody would want you playing. Did you make a basket or two?
Yeah, I was a hot shot, man.
Were you?
Yeah, I was a hot shot, but I just never played for a team. I wrestled. I just thought basketball was
Now,
for women.
you haven't mentioned how you did in wrestling, so I have to ask.
Well,
How did you do?
Well, I was the first ninth grader in the history of my high school
Say its name.
to make a
Say the name.
gateway to make the varsity, to wrestle varsity. So,
Really?
And
Mario Tempest, you can check that out.
So there you go.
'Cause now you can find out who the first kid. He didn't have to have a number because we only found out recently his high school number, which to me is unbelievable. In football, was 21.
That's right. Nice.
College was 22.
Yes, sir.
Because I couldn't figure it out because you even told me email and everything else. But I couldn't figure that out until just recently. At the end of last year, there was a breakthrough.
And I want to apologize for missing my high school coach, who I love, Anna Marino. I missed his 90th birthday party. And I'm sorry, Luther, for missing your 40th birthday party.
Don't hold it against him. He was busy. He was on a mission searching for sweeties for Jimmy. All right? And probably at a basketball game or something else. And now you have it, folks. You got a tip of the iceberg on Smoking Jim Frazier. We're almost out of time. I want to thank everybody for watching in. Devin Shea, you did a super job. I can't check this last text message because we're out of time. And I want all of you to stay Joey strong.